All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning for our live stream. Wow, we got over 110 people here already. Amazing, right? I'm joined by
Yeah,
Sean, SwingRipper.
who you
Uh,
may recognize from the Discord server being one of the most active mods. So,
yes, and also for those who are old school, you were the Marshals team captain
yeah,
when we had a Marshals v Casters event. Okay, let's get straight to the point. Today is the playtest release of the Kineticist. What is it? Now our 23rd class in Pathfinder 2E. After what, 3-4 years of being out,
yeah.
we are spoiled. We Pathfinder players.
hmm
So also, I thought it would be good. Okay, I have Sean on for a couple of reasons. One, he's able to absorb and process information very quickly. And I want to be able to focus on what I'm looking at while, and he's gonna help me like catch comments in chat. Like if I royally screw up or there's a burning question, you can let me know, Sean. And
Yeah,
and also Sean is not familiar with the 1E kineticist, and I think yes, we should go over the 1E kineticist and as part of some of our baseless speculation. Well, in this case, would be less baseless, but
okay. And I should
yeah.
mention I know a very small amount about the Kineticist, as in my mom got me some minis for Christmas that said Pathfinder at the top, and one of them was the Kineticist mini. So I know how the iconic looks from that. That's all
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Let me know. In recent streams, I've been not loud enough. Let me know if I need to adjust the volumes. Okay, what do the comments say so far? I'm just going to jump
Uh,
straight to what I was planning.
a bunch of
Okay.
people are saying hello and how excited they are.
All right, let me ask for. Okay, let's have a baseless speculation poll in the chat right now. Um, People should say what they think the key ability of the playtest kineticist will be. Go ahead. Chat, chat, chat. Vote, vote, vote.
I think my
Oh
bet
wait,
is charisma.
don't sway what the poll will
Oh,
say.
damn.
You can speak after they. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Constitution was the main stat for 1E. Well, everyone's saying Constitution. Okay, you can start
Yeah.
talking now, Sean.
Well, I was gonna say charisma because everything feels like a charisma caster nowadays, and that was just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, charisma has gone from, this like dump stat to being like everything you can
It's
think
the main
of.
stat of every class except for like wizard.
Yeah, including, whether you think a specific object will
Yeah, and
trigger the weakness of a monster for the
yeah, and
thaumaturge.
it also is the key stat of clerics. Don't at me.
Uh-huh. The playtest, where is it? Okay, if someone knows from previous playtest announcements where it might drop, please put that in the chat because what we need is someone to f5paizo.com also, which I'm going to be too busy to do. So, and then share the link. Okay, I think we want to take a little historical tour here. So in Pathfinder 1E, it was a adaptation of third edition, and I'll just say my thoughts on the kineticist from 1E. Well, what was it, first of all? It was a bender from the Avatar series. You're basically shaping energy, and it does not, well, most of what it does is not using spells from the spell list of Pathfinder. It's bespoke abilities, starting with the fundamental building block of the kinetic blast, but you could do infusions. That's what they were called. Think of amps for the psychic to modify those kinetic blasts to do more than simply affect one enemy within 30 feet. You could give it extended range, you could give it an area effect, things like that, or have it do rider effects. And yeah, I'm going to go through the abilities, but for me, it was it showed the ambition of the Pathfinder designers, but also I felt like it's very complicated. When I was a teacher of middle school students, whenever someone wanted to run a kineticist, I would die a little inside because there was so much to explain in terms of what they needed to know to run their own character, let alone what a GM needs to know to anticipate what a player will bring to the table. Okay, so what did the Kineticist do? I'm gonna look through the Cult Adventures, which is very pretty and fancy, and go straight to it. So, okay, here's the Kineticist. Yoon was the iconic. She was a child then, and now it looks like she's a teenager. They're they would gain an element at level 1, and they could choose from the 4 classic elements or Aether, which was kind of like the Aether referred to. It's what you manipulated to move objects, so it's kind of like the Kineticist for 1E as well. And that unlocked various abilities for you. Yet all these abilities that were called under the big umbrella label Wild Talents. And let's just look at one example. If you chose fire as your element, you could choose a bunch of you unlocked, it looked like 7 Wild Talents at first level. And you also gained a kinetic blast. And because some of them were energy blasts and others were physical. The energy blasts did less damage. And it did 1d6 plus half your constitution modifier, and it scaled up as you leveled up. Every time you got a new odd numbered level, it would add another d6. And what should we say about that? Okay, then there was this mechanic called Burn, in which you could voluntarily take non-lethal damage. It scaled as you leveled up. When you took 1 burn, you would take 1 non-lethal damage per level, and it became a permanent modifier on your hit point space. Well, non-lethal damage was tracked in a separate pool in Pathfinder 1E, and you fell unconscious if that equaled or exceeded your hit points. You can already hear some of the fiddliness, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, and what Burn did was, well, what did it do? You could fuel your abilities. Those infusions I spoke of, those cost Burn. So at first level, you could choose 1 infusion. Let's say you were a fire kineticist. A couple of choices you had were burning infusion here. Oh, I should get my little yellow thing, actually. Hold on. Cursor highlighter. Where's my cursor highlighter pointer thing? I should get it. Hold on. So that you all know what I'm looking at. Okay, here we go. So here, burning infusion. It would cost 1 burn, and it would turn your individual blast into a it would, if you hit the enemy, they would have to do a reflex save, and if they failed it, they would take 1d6 points of fire damage each round until the fire was extinguished. Another infusion you could have chosen was Fan of Flames at first level, which turns it into a 15-foot cone, kind of like Burning Hands. And if they failed, they took the damage of your blast. So that's, and you could take Burn up to, you can have Burn that was equal to 3 plus your Constitution modifier at once. You're limited to spending 1 Burn at first level at a time, but it could accumulate to up to, let's say you had an 18 Constitution, it could be up to 7 Burn. You using so many infusions that day. Then, so what's next here? Gather Power was something else. If you wanted to not spend Burn. If you wanted to do an ability that required Burn, but you wanted to spend less Burn, you could Gather Power and build up in anticipation of a kinetic blast. You could spend a move action to lower the Burn cost by 1. And let me just say, I hope all of this stuff gets simpler in the 2E version. But, yeah.
I'm already getting a headache from trying to process this first thing in the morning.
Yes. And if you spent a full round action, you would lower the cost of the burn by 2. So you could already, some of the infusions and some of the other abilities cost more burn than 1. Some of them I saw cost 4 burn. If you spent a full round action and the move action of the next turn, you could lower it by 3. All of this is implemented in the Pathfinder computer games, by the way, which I'm starting to play again. Okay. That's just level 1. And when you get to second level, you get a wild talent that was a defensive wild talent. And that's its own ability depending on your element. And you also got what's called a utility wild talent, and there were 80 of them. 80 wild talents. Oh, there were 40 infusions you could add to modify your blasts also. All of this in the first book that it was released in. And, okay, these are the defense wild talents here. The infusions ranged from, okay, look, Entangling Infusion, Eruption, which is kind of like a fireball, turning your fire blast into a fireball, kind of. And then here are the utility wild talents, and there are 80 of them. You also got a level 1 utility wild talent, depending on your element. So basic pyrokinesis gave you the effect of the flare, light, and spark cantrips. But yeah, this is a whole bunch of things that are not spells that they made for the Kineticist. Kinetic Healer was included.
Wild.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you got new wild talents as you leveled up. You got more infusions. I think you got an infusion. Let's look at the table here. An infusion at every odd numbered level. You got another utility talent every even level. The way you scaled up was that your kinetic blasts would increase in damage. And then you also got this ability called Infusion Specialization, where basically you could, when you did a blast, you could reduce the combined burn cost of your infusions by 1. So that Fan of Flames infusion we saw, you could just spam that without having to spend burn or gather power once you got to 5th level. And this discount on burn increased every 3 levels. So as you get to higher levels, you're like regularly spending like lots of burn on each blast. And then metakinesis was also something you got at 5th level, which you normally cannot discount. You get the ability to empower spells, so just plus 50% on the damage of your blast by using 1 burn. Internal buffer, okay, if you thought your headache was bad, you had, at the start of the day, another point that was, you could accept a point of burn and leave it in this set-aside pool that allowed you to basically go Nova on one particular wild talent. So the usual limit of the usual cap on how much burn you could spend on a particular wild talent was lifted for this internal buffer. And then expanded element, you got a second element, or you could invest further in your first element. And when you unlock the second element, you also unlock, well, with expanded element, you got more powerful blasts called composite blasts. If you decided to double down into fire, there's something called Blue Flame Blast. And these composite blasts did more damage and had other benefits. Then the other things you get at higher levels are basically giving you more efficiency in how you spent burn. And then level 20 is this, I'm just going to read it out, shows how much of a headache this would give. At 20th level, a kineticist transcends the distinction between the different elements and can bend all creation to her will. By accepting 1 point of burn, in addition to any burn requirement of the kinetic blast she chooses, she can use any blast wild talent she does not know. By accepting 1 point of burn as a standard action, she can also change any of her wild talents, remember the 80 utility talents, into any other wild talent of the same category for 24 hours, ignoring any elemental requirements or restrictions. So you basically needed to have this memorized. Well, not memorized, but have your player be really knowledgeable.
I need to do my thing that I did when I was playing the Brawler, where I listed out every feat that I thought was good on a piece of paper and listed why I thought it was decent in some situation. And I just always have that on the table next to me.
Yeah, the 1E Brawler Sean's talking about, let him...
They had a mechanic where they could spend their move action to get a feat for the rest of combat. It was a lot for a new player to track.
Yeah. So I think we heard that this playtest is going to be the biggest page count wise, which is of their classes. I think I heard that, or maybe I'm imagining that, but I think that's one of my predictions. Okay,
And I've been
next.
seeing Twitch chat talking a lot about is it coming out 10:30, is it coming out at 11? And also people trying to guess how they're going to convert burn over to Pathfinder 2nd. Some people
Yeah,
are suggesting that's going to be the drain condition.
yeah. I'm wondering if it's going to be represented separately from focus points. That'll
Hmm.
be interesting to see whether we'll have effectively a second thing to track. It would still be
Yeah.
simpler than what this was.
Yeah, like
Um,
even if that turns out to be because like we've seen two focus spell class from Psychic, so they now have a template for that.
mhm.
So I don't know.
Okay. I wonder if, and I also wonder whether burn will affect their hit points. Probably no. It would probably be through the drained condition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drain
Another
makes a lot of
more
sense.
speculation from chat. Let people should say what they think the hit die is going to be for Kineticist. Okay.
All right,
Let's see what they
chat.
say. Let's see if chat is correct when we get the reveals. Did anyone in chat say where what a good place is? I don't know if the front page of paizo.com is a good place. I'm not sure about that. It might be under the blog.
You know, I really like John's comment
4.
of four. The for 46 dropped the lowest hit die.
I'm proud of uh you all
No,
for your
it's
trolling.
coming on the average of 8. Yeah.
Well, D8. I don't
And then
know.
people are saying higher if burn is more core, but 8
That
is
makes
kind of
sense. It'll
where
be
we seem to
higher
be
if burn is
guessing.
core.
And I'm thinking that as a
The
con
Kineticist
caster,
was a
if burn works like
D6, by the
drain,
way,
okay.
in 1E. Okay.
Hmm. I'm just thinking of that burn being a common ability. If we're thinking of them like a mage, which I don't know is correct or not, but if we think of them like a mage, and we want them to have like near mage bulk, putting them at con already means that they should drain like 2 or 3 times before they're back on normal mage HP
Mm-hmm.
for the early game. So I don't necessarily think that even if burn is a heavy mechanic, they'll need the D10 die to be as bulky as a mage. So that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, another thing about hit die that Serena pointed out is that if con is the key ability, that will incentivize lowering the hit die since they'll be presumed to be
Hmm.
maxed out.
Yeah. And
Do people in chat know whether
yeah.
previous playtests were posted as a Paizo blog? Because that's what I'm F5ing right now. Also, there's a it would show up as a new section in their forums. I know that for sure.
Hmm.
There is a playtest page. Zenark, is there already a playtest page? Oh, if people are wondering where I got this info about it being released 10:30 Pacific, I asked on the Paizo Partners Discord, and someone said that would be the time. Though I don't know if that person was a Paizo employee, but I don't think they would have. Whoever it was would have said it without.
Some information.
Yeah. According to Paizo Twitter, it's 11 a.m. Pacific.
Huh.
Hmm.
I mean, plans could have gone changed. I mean,
It could have.
oh no, we're gonna hang out on stream for 40 more minutes before the actual event
Oh,
starts. Whatever.
I and also I need to leave at 12:30, unfortunately. So it
Oh.
just means we'll have a more energetic. I made a pun. Stream.
Hmm.
We can find random topics to talk about. Let's have more baseless speculation. Let's look at what do we think there. Okay, I'm still wondering why it's called Rage of Elements. Can people speculate about that? Because I put out right away. I thought that Blood Rager was going to be announced, but it wasn't.
Hmm. Uh, I am not sure if we'll have the playtest legal in ETT. I'll need to talk to the rest of the team about that because
Mm-hmm.
the
That's our
playtest classes are, I don't know.
that's our
But
ETT is Endless Tail Tavern, which is our drop-in uh, play Pathfinder 2E community at my server, which people should join if you haven't yet. Uh,
yep.
oh. So I'm wondering. Okay, I'm gonna just put out. I'm guessing it's gonna be trained in simple weapons,
Hmm.
trained in light armor. Hmm. In 1E it was their good saves were fortitude and reflex, and will was their weak save. Another thing about the 1E kineticist it is they like spellcasters, their actual attack accuracy was dependent on another statistic. It was strength or dexterity. I think for the blast it was dexterity since it was a ranged attack. But 2E generally has not requ- required that you get a second stat up for your attacks. Okay, I'm looking at chat then.
I hope that doesn't require another stat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just because I kind of think that people should be allowed to have a high wisdom version of it and then also dip into druid or have it be easy to play on a monk or things like that.
Mm-hmm. I think gather power would be fun to have as a mechanic. By the way, I see someone
Mhm.
mentioning it in chat because of the. It's one of the things that's fun about 2E is this deciding is having different things compete for your actions, so
Yeah.
that could be something. But we're probably going to see less pure damage numerical buffs since that compared to the 1E version. Oh, everyone should know too. There already is a third party kineticist that's out there from Legendary Games. That one of the players in my campaigns, who is a very experienced player, recommends. It's called Legendary Kineticist. It was published by Vanessa Hoskins, who is a freelancer for Paizo, who I think wrote the second volume of Abomination Vaults. And from what I glimpsed of it, it is pretty faithful to the 1E kineticist and is like, how can we import all of these mechanics into 2E? So everything we saw here kind of has a 2E translation in the legendary kineticist. So that could be a fun. That could be a fun and also a source of ideas for the playtest. It could be a useful compare and contrast to the playtest.
Mhm.
$5 comment, Chivalrous Walrus. Thanks for the help. Asking Burn, do you want it to be kept or not? That is interesting because what Burn was in 1E was a daily resource. You could never lower it, which is not how focus points work in 2E. So I think in general, 2E has avoided daily resources, well, except for spell slots. And there would need to be a cap on how much. We don't want a situation where the party knows it's going to go up against a difficult challenge and is just going to rule it out because one player in the party needs to long rest. So I'm just expressing my concern about a burn mechanic. I don't know if it should be or not.
I mean, what does burn like actually do? Because A thing that I've seen in some homebrew classes when I was poking around is a focus point that applies like you have less max HP until you recover the focus point and things like that.
Oh, one other thing about burn in 1E was this thing that I skipped over. Elemental overflow. If you thought floating math was a problem, listen to this. So
Oh no.
when starting at 3rd level, you receive a bonus on your attack rolls with Kinetic Blast equal to the total number of points of burn you currently have, to a maximum bonus of +1 for every 3 Kineticist levels you possess. You also receive a bonus on damage rolls with your Kinetic Blast, equal to double the bonus on attack rolls. And in addition, starting at 6th level, whenever you have at least 3 points of burn, you get a +2 size bonus to 2 physical ability scores of your choice. So you had this kind of like Mr. Hyde effect as well, too, or like elemental. What's the psychic state called? Psyche Unleashed thing, where basically, or like the Oracle Curse, where you kind of powered up. But this was all buffs. This was all positive in 1E. So that was also going on with the burn, which is kind of cool thematically, but it means more math, and also it incentivizes getting your numbers big, which is something that Paizo
I have
2E
learned
has
how
not.
much I do not like percent signs in my tabletop role-playing games. The hard way because I decided to homebrew some that had percent health damage in 5e,
Uh,
and it was not fun at the table. Let me tell you that much.
yeah.
Um,
Is there a percentile sign here? Oh, yes. You also gain
I
a chance to ignore the effects of a critical hit or sneak attack equal to 5% your current number of points of burn. Yeah. Fiddly, fiddly.
I'm scared to never see percent sign in my tabletop role-playing game. Um, I think it's a healthy fear though.
So, okay. Baseless predictions. Again, let's have a poll. Do we think there will be a daily resource emulating burn from 1E in this playtest?
And unlike the last one, I'm not going to state my opinion until you say it's fine to do so.
And this is a prediction of what the playtest will be, not what you think should happen.
Yeah.
So yes, there is going to be a mechanic. No, there will not be. Okay.
I
It seems like
think
most
chat
people are
is like,
saying no.
yeah, like
And also
two-thirds no,
expressing,
one-third yes.
yeah, and it's also hoping there won't be a daily
Yeah.
resource. But also, I might have skewed
Personally,
the results.
I'm hoping that there isn't a daily resource.
Yeah.
Simply because I like the idea of a bender that works very differently from magic. And I think that if it had a big
Uh-huh.
long rest resource, it'd be too similar to mages.
Oh, I'm gonna get lots of nerd rage directed at me. I've not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the call now. Bye.
I do plan to see it though, and that makes me purely unqualified to react to this. But I
Watched it several times.
rage, rage.
Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Guilt
My
trip, guilt
defense
trip.
is I have not seen much TV shows, media, movies. Period. I'm a
That's
busy
fair.
beaver.
Um,
I do want to do that though. I'm gonna ask in my server which oh my god. More Ronald confessions. This is gonna get more rage.
oh no.
The only anime I have seen is
Okay, you just triggered a lot more rage by calling Avatar an anime, which is an actual raging debate.
oh
But
my
continue.
god, it's not an anime?
It's made in the US, so a lot of people say it isn't an anime because anime must be made in Japan.
Oh
There's
no,
an
that
entire
sounds like an
argument about
internal
that.
rage, nerd rage argument.
That's another internal rage thing. Just letting you know that you're triggering nerd rage without even intending.
Okay, all right. I love the engagement. This all increases my algorithm. Okay, more anger. But Robotech and the Mac and the Japanese version of not Japanese, the original Japanese called Macross Saga. That's the only anime I've seen in full, and I want to know. I'll ask on my server what I should jump into. Not here, because I don't know you all.
Yeah. I mean, I have my opinions on which ones I like.
Wow, that's old. Yes, yes. I saw it when it aired on TV. Old. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, people are really confused on how you could have not seen Avatar. And a bunch of people are also saying Avatar's not anime because it's made in America as well in chat. Personally,
I don't
I
know.
think it's
That
an
seems
anime,
like a
and you can
strange
get
way
mad
to
at me about
define a
that. I
genre.
I think that's a weird way to define a genre. Like, I know that we have like Western RPG and JRPG in like the video game space, but those are because like the Western RPGs are more things like Skyrim, where you are a character running around the world and making your character and doing those types of things. Where JRPG are like party focused story games.
Well, we're past the original time it was supposed to
So
post, but it's probably not posting yet. All right. But you're all hanging out here. It's 196 people now. It's just going to increase. Okay, so I know I can think of random topics and interesting discussion. I'm just reading your comments.
right, and is it alright if I just whip chat into a frenzy real quick? Um,
Absolutely.
okay, so season one of Avatar: Last Airbender was mid, and you can come at me for that take.
Middling? Mid?
It was just kind of like mid is just like Twitter speak for it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just mid tier, you know?
Oh, mid tier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything after season one though, like season two was really good. Season three also really good. And now chat's starting to
I'm going to.
there we go.
All right. I'm going to add you to the title of this video
That's fair.
so that people know who the
And
hell you are. Well,
and
SwingRipper.
some people are agreeing with me. See, season one's mid, go ahead and cope harder. Um Okay, season one had its good moments and had payoffs though. It's just you know, man, I'm half of chat is agreeing with me, half of chat is hating on me for saying any part of Avatar is bad. This is great.
Sean's like, oh, this is fun. Poking at chat. Like, let's see how it reacts.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very, very good if you think of it as a kids show. I'm thinking of it as like a real show, so therefore season one is mid. As a kids show, season one is still great. So I'll say that. I actually enjoyed Korra season two more than Avatar: Last Airbender season one, and that is a take that'll get a lot of people mad at me.
I'll ask chat this though. Okay, it's made in the U.S., so it's gonna have some different sensibilities. But uh, what I hear from anime and what I know of anime is that compelling characters, unexpected deaths, long-running storylines. Does Avatar have all that?
Avatar has all of that, yeah.
Okay, good.
Um, yeah, I can't say much more because I know how spoiler phobic you are. And people are
I am.
claiming that I'm trolling for that take, and I'm actually not. I legitimately enjoyed Korra season two because I was using it as background noise and I thought that it was funny. So there we go.
How many seasons is Avatar?
Three. Last Airbender is three. Korra has, I think, four.
And if it was in the
Someone can
U.S.,
correct me
where
on
did
that.
it distribute? Was it like a network after school
It was a
slot?
Nickelodeon show.
Oh, Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And basically, a lot of the producers were meddling in the vision for season one because nobody really tried to do like an animated kids show that was super plot heavy at that point. So the producers were like, no, you need to make it funnier. You need to have a throwaway episode. You need to make it more like SpongeBob and just stuff that caused them to not really build up the things. And then for season 2, they started backing off, and then season 3, they just completely let them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Awesome. And I hear that the movie is an abomination.
we don't talk about the movie. That's
Yeah.
I'm not even going to acknowledge the movie. That's not because
Feed
chat.
the
You
algorithm
see,
anger.
chat
What if I said the
chat will agree with me on this take. You see, I'm a
what if
normal
I said
person
the
when it comes to the
movie
Avatar
is not
movie.
given a fair shake? What if I said that, huh?
It mispronounces the name of the main character.
What? How do you do that? How do you do that? How does that happen? It's a freaking
Look.
American
Okay, and
original.
then also, like the characters in like the intro scene of Avatar actually mean things, but they got different ones that mean nothing for the movie. If that tells you how bad the movie is, it we don't acknowledge the movie existing.
All right, you know, there are a few things that unite the internet, but sometimes hate of something does.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
what else
agree.
can I
There is
think
no
of?
movie in Bossing Say. That'll make
Oh,
sense once you get to season 2.
okay, Pathfinder. I only learned recently that the Pathfinder computer games, which are made by Alcat. No, no. What I learned about Alcat is that they're not. They're not. They're gonna do a Warhammer game next. I thought they were gonna do Starfinder. I only looked. This is old news, I'm sure, for many people, but that makes me a little sad because it makes me think they're never gonna do a Pathfinder 2e game.
Uh,
There is no playtest yet. Blue Tomato. We're the latest from Paizo is that it'll be up in 23 minutes, which
okay, so Daniel is coming at me for my take on Korra again, and I just want to start a fight again.
we got
So
23
it was not
minutes,
just
John.
background noise. We have 23 minutes. That means I have enough time to fight. This will only take 5 minutes at most.
Oh, I won't
It
give
was
you
not really
five
background
though.
noise. I was actually, yeah, I'll take the 5. So
No,
I was not really watching it as fully background noise. I was actually looking at the screen for a lot of it. But I was also browsing Twitter, just like what I was doing when rewatching Avatar for the third time. And season 1 was more painful under that context. So,
Badum says, I believe Alcat has said they don't like 2E. The devs are 1E diehards, which I think that by the way they designed 1E, which was you have to super optimize in order to play under the core difficulty. I believe that. I mean, there's crazy stuff. I was enjoying Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous until on core difficulty, and then I started to hit encounters when I inspected the monsters. I was a level 3 party facing 4 level 4 creatures, and that's typical how Hellcat designs their game. You have to kind of one min max and super optimize your your party, and also when you get past maybe level 5 or so, you gotta like cast haste and all these buffs before many fights. I wasn't enjoying that. So someone who I've beaten XCOM on Legendary Iron Man. I'm not bad at these strategy games, but I'm playing the Pathfinder CRPGs on normal difficulty,
mm,
which auto levels up your companions, which is closer to the tabletop experience because, some of your friends are not, going to be min-maxers. And I get to not have to reload because of a random crit killing one of my characters. Life's too short, so I'm doing that.
fair enough.
I'm going back to Kingmaker 2 on my 4th attempt. The last ones I got bored from all the pre-buffing and stuff. Okay, Chivalrous Walrus dunks another $5. Thank you. Korra Season 3 has one of the most interesting villains in the whole series, Sean. Hast thou a response?
I hard agree with that. Hard agree. That's very true. And I'm not going to say more because I'm going to expect that you're going to want to watch Korra after Last Airbender. So I'm not going to really go into details, but a lot of the Korra villains are more philosophical than the Last Airbender villains.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm really gonna say on that topic, because that's as much as I can go through it. Yeah, and other people are saying the core villains were what they made them stick with the show. And you see, I actually liked the character dynamics within like the core group. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah. Site 7 says, to be fair about Wrath of the Righteous, you need to be facing OP enemies to keep up with the Mythic Party. Yeah, though I saw these issues in Kingmaker, also in the encounter design. And what I was encountering was before I got a Mythic Path in Wrath of the Righteous. The player Fox says Kingmaker is harder and more boring. I think what kept me from finishing Kingmaker was I was using it playing at a core difficulty. I think that'll be fixed when I go to normal.
Hmm.
Yep, Wrath of the Righteous on easy mode, specifically on normal mode, which is fine. Which, I mean, to be fair, like the way the encounters are designed so that normal feels like a real challenge. So, I don't know, like if your encounter design is super difficult, the playing at core difficulty is a difficult difficulty. Okay. Phoenix Black says Korra is a lot worse than Last Airbender because Aaron, he has left to work on Dragon Prince. Also, I think Owlcat works on multiple games at once now. Thank you, Sean, for creating rage and controversy because people are,
Yeah,
giving
and
money.
I'm gonna say that my tier list is like Avatar: Last Airbender season 1, Korra season 2 barely above it by just a touch. Okay, it's not that much. Then like a gap, then the other seasons of Korra, then Avatar season 2, then at the top Avatar season 3.
Hmm. Okay, what are other things we can we do arbitrary top threes?
Yeah,
Okay, what's
I
your
agree with
favorite class so
Show's
far that Pathfinder's put out? Let's do that. Let's talk about that. The playtest is
Oh,
supposed to come up in 17 minutes.
oh, and Chad is gonna get mad at me again because my take is that fighter is the best designed class in Pathfinder second, and that's not trolling.
Oh,
I really like my generic characters. I'm a human fighter main, but I hate Flick Mace.
yeah, Flick Mace, the problem. Oh, preview of future content. I'm banning level 2 long strider in my campaigns.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Sean instigated this change.
I initiated this because I just made a wizard who started the game with 8 Wands of Longstrider, joining into a high level game, and then gave everybody plus 10 move speed permanently. And you were just like, that doesn't seem fair. I'm like, you're right.
I would justify it now, but then that will disincentivize watching my explanation for that.
Yeah.
So you can all look it
It's
up and rage.
yeah, I'm happy that I managed to get a house rule into your games.
Yeah, we should call it I should name house rules after the people who
After the
forced them to
people who made them
happen.
necessary. Yeah. I think that'd be really funny to have the swing rule or the Sean rule, you
The
know?
anti-SwingRipper rule.
Although you're probably gonna end up with a few of those. I mean, the thing is, Peter, that it's 10 extra speed that gets rid of like the fact that panache gives you more speed on Swashbuckler. That makes monks less special. It's yeah.
They're the same type.
Yeah, it's status bonus speed, which some classes use as like one of their core features. And I do not really like that the wizard can just give anybody that feature by existing and buying a wand. It's a personal taste thing, like at some tables it's fun. But when you have a player like me that thinks it's stupid and then wants to prove it can get very stupid.
On my favorite class, I think I like the psychic. I just like the fantasy of the psychic and the idea of unleashing, getting pissed off or something, or having some elevated state is cool to
Yeah,
me. I like the fantasy of, you don't need to believe, you don't need to be in a pseudo medieval fantasy world to think of yourself being a psychic. You can just be
yeah,
a bullied teenager,
and
or a parent who's an experiment of the government, or yourself an
that
experiment of them.
is
These
actually the
these are all
plot of yeah.
relatable circumstances.
And I've been running a game called Masks, which is a teenage superhero game, and that is like one of the character classes is a thing where you can be a magic user of any type that can inflict damage on themselves to get more power. So I'm seeing this coming. I'm like, oh, cool. Now, if we want to do a Pathfinder conversion, we can.
Alex Baker says he likes that, or she likes Alex. There's female Alexes. The new classes are more complex. They have a good range of difficulty and class choices now. Yeah, they outside the core rulebook, the classes have been more complex, and we saw that especially with the Dark Archive book. There was, let's see.
Oh, Chad is actually right. Longsword can only target self. Oh. Huh.
Yeah, but I don't know if you hold the wand though.
Yeah, but then you have to get into the trick magic item type stuff.
Okay, I still think it's not a good spell to have in
I
the
still
game.
agree. It's not as busted now, but okay, that's a bit more fair. You need to be able to cast spells in order to use the wand.
Thanks for that, by the way, because I'm not banning it in the campaign it's already in, Sean.
Yeah.
I usually allow the founder first, the founder's benefit
All right.
for an exploit, usually.
Yeah, unless it's really bad.
Okay, Dark Archive. Yeah, the psychic. I'm looking it up. It's how many pages? 22 pages, including the full page artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and
The
it
thing about
also is a
Alchemist
full
is you also need to
spellcaster.
thing about Alchemist is you also need to index every spell in your mind. Not every spell, but every alchemical item that you have in your book into your mind because you prepare midday. So you need to constantly be thinking about everything that you have that could be useful. I agree with Alex's take of if the Alchemist came out now, it'd be better received because the advanced classes have different sets of expectations than the core classes.
Yeah, the Kineticist, as we saw from 1E, was its whole subsystem.
Oh yeah,
So, I mean, not it goes beyond Psychic even, which had a huge page count. Psychic had subclasses. Yeah, two subclasses that had a lot of detail within them, but these things we saw in the 1E Kineticist earlier in the hour, those were all. It's this whole new. It's like adding alchemy. It's this whole other
no,
design space.
I have a guess for how it's gonna work, and I'm gonna say that it is fighter-like. And also, somebody in chat is saying, "Do you think prepared occult caster is possible in 2E?" Yes, it is. It's called Witch.
Yeah.
Um, yes, so that is very possible. But anyway, so I think it's going to work by going through, and you know how fighters can pick different types of strikes with their feats? I
Hmm.
think Kineticist will have all the different blast B feats that just activates.
Or infusions.
Or infusions and
I see it
various
being
things.
modular. Like this feat gives you an infusion that you can
Yeah, like a bunch of meta magic
clamp
stuff for
on.
your blast attack that uses con.
Yeah.
Like I could see them having blast and shield as like cantrips, and then a bunch of meta magic feats that modify those two things. specifically by name.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see that as like a way they do it. And then they might have eventually like a feature called Burn at like a mid level that lets them do one of their meta magic things as a free action for some HP.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that be a once per 10-minute type ability.
Okay. All right. We're actually speculating about the Kineticist now in chat. That's good. Versus talking about other things. Uh, yeah. It'll be interesting to see. First, there's got to be the subclass has got to be your element, right? Choosing
Yeah.
an element
And
at first
I
level.
really like Peter's idea of blast as a single action, and then the meta magic things might be what adds the more damage to it to make it more like a mage's attack. Hmm. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's another speculation. Will a kinetic blast be one action or two? Let's speculate. Vote. That's an interesting possibility.
I like I'd think two action would probably be the most likely, but I think one action would be the coolest.
It would. It would be kind of like, I would think a selling point for Kinetis would be like, do you want to attack with blasts instead of your weapon and
Yeah.
have it act like it?
And then I
Because you
could
still have the multiple
get
attack
electric arc on my
penalty.
kineticist and go blast electric arc.
Because the counter would be that you're limited, at least at first level, to only one type of energy.
Hmm.
So it's not like you combine action, economy, efficiency with the versatility you often get with spells. We'll see.
Yeah, and if all of the things that make an elemental damage are an action meta magic, then it's still two action to get elemental damage, which seems to be pretty normal for this system. Then what type would like the normal
One action
blast
for
be?
melee and
Bludgeoning?
two for ranged. That's an interesting one.
That is an interesting thought.
I do think this playtest will be longer than the psychic, and I could be imagining this, but I thought they had said it was their biggest playtest so far. I assume
Hmm.
what they meant was page count. So we're at 236 people. This is great. I gotta say, it was really cool though, the idea of mixing things in the one
Hmm.
ekineticist, as complicated as it was. But yeah, if you look at composite blasts, if you mix different elements together, you got a different
Yeah,
something. There's
and
air and fire make plasma, air and earth make storm.
you see, I'm gonna have a little bit of doubter in my head that's saying it's just gonna work like druid subclasses. You're just gonna pick fire, you're gonna pick earth, and then there'll be a level 2 feat to pick ones that you don't have. That's what the doubter in my head is saying.
Well, it'll be about how it's implemented.
Yeah,
It might be that, but be cooler somehow, some other way.
it'd be it could be cooler somehow, but that's what I'm thinking
We're
it'll
look
be.
we're looking at the one cadet assist on my screen right now, folks.
Hmm. Oh, that is true. I have not done my plug for all the social media stuff. Is it all right?
Sure.
All right, so now I'm gonna need you all to just go down and hit the like button or the dislike button. Both are engagement, both boost us. I'll be happy either way. Go ahead, tell me your opinions on my takes. Anyway, so then go subscribe to the Rules Lawyer channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of live streams like this one. And then also go to the channel, then go to the second channel where we have other live streams for the community plays and other live plays, and go subscribe to that channel as well. And then in the description, while you're scrolling, go ahead and join our Discord server where we have drop-in games via ETT and a lot of Pathfinder 2 discussion.
Um, he is not. I'm not sponsoring him in any way. He's a full volunteer. That all that
I did that of my own
enthusiasm is
accord.
genuine.
Yeah. My takes are honest. It's just that I know that when I'm about to say something that people will disagree with me on.
Like if If you want to really get SwingRipper going, talk about 5e, right?
Yes. Although I'm kind of coming back around to like I'm starting to see what 5e did well,
Oh, because you played
and
Pathfinder 1e.
because I played Pathfinder 1, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Not a paid actor, someone says
yes.
Morid.
Uh, do you really think we have the budget for a paid actor?
No, not $50 million. Okay.
I just find it funny to do the YouTuber plug.
Bowling infusion. Isn't that funny? I'm just looking at this because you could. Okay, there were two types of infusions. There were substance infusions, which changed or added the effect of your blast. And there were form infusions, which kind of changed the shape of your blast. So, bowling infusion gives you a free trip attempt against each target. So if you combine it with Fan of Flames and bowling, you could like knock over a triangle of but that's a kind of mixing and matching that I hope they retain in the 2E playtest. That kind of combining it, literally bending your simple ability into a lot of other effects and shapes. You'll see. Five E Abomination Vaults, they said, would come out early next year. Deadly Earth in 1E is wild with bowling. Let's see. Deadly Earth. You infuse the ground in a 20-foot radius anywhere within 120 feet of you on an earthen surface. The ground roils and buckles. All creatures and objects in contact with the ground take 1/4 of the normal damage from your blast, with no save. Anytime a creature enters the area, takes half the normal damage from your blast, as do creatures that end their turns in the area. Difficult terrain. So you get to damage them and knock them over. 20-foot radius, but it was 4 burn. That was a 6th level,
Okay, so
like a
this
6th level
requires you to
spell.
spend a bunch of your higher level resource, then infuse your thing to then have the damage reduced by a fraction that already has a fraction of your stat modifier in it. Cool, glad I got it.
Yeah, but if you're by the time you're 11th level, though, you can reduce the burn cost by 3. And if you're gathering power, oh, there's this other thing, supercharge at 11th level when using gather power as a move action, you can reduce the total burn cost of a single wild talent by 2 points instead of 1. So you would gather power, reduce it by 2, and then you had infusion specialization, so that would be free. You just need to spend your move action and standard action. Yep, and then okay, let's 2 minutes. About 2 minutes according to my clock. Let's see.
Yep.
I don't know if Paizoblog is the where I should be looking. This is what I'm looking at. It says the most recent post was Wednesday. That doesn't look right to me. Announcements? Paizo announcements?
I also took a look at their YouTube channel just to see if they had anything on there about it, and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, and I don't know if they've had playtests on the front page. But also Gen Con, they're probably all busy. They're probably I'm going to join the unanimity on the internet that the Paizo website needs an update. The blog had Dark Archives playtest last year, says Various Drugs. They said on Twitter, Zanza Klaus, that they'd post this at around this time. Live F5ing.
All right. Oh no, did we drive too much traffic into it and give it the red hug of death? No, we did not. Okay, good.
Diamond, we have not seen. Oh my god, I know this person in real life. The PF2 Kineticist, we have not seen it yet, but it's supposed to drop any moment. Welcome. Got 250 people. I guess, Paizo just wanted to, have a bigger audience.
Yeah, no,
They figured, they
they're
put it out
taking a
later.
dramatic pause before it drops, keeping all 255 of us in suspense.
Yep. What is this playtest page you're looking at, Clockwork? They're gathering power, says Peter Stadtmüller. Loading since... Oh no. Everyone's F5ing.
I mean, they said it was coming out in time. It better come out exactly that second. We are in the time of instant
Oh no,
gratification.
I pressed F5 like 10 seconds ago and it's just not loading right now.
You see, I'm not on the website refreshing because I'm a good Samaritan. I'm letting other people see it first.
Hey, y'all, hold off so that I can update my screen.
Oh, it's on Pathfinder playtest, and Moon just pinged both of us in it. 502
Okay.
bad gateway. Okay, I literally cannot even connect because their website is having so much traffic.
50. Okay.
Oh, we crashed their site.
502. Come on. Everybody hold off so I can get through. Stop.
Yeah, no, we crashed the site.
No. I wish I had more videos to put as on hotkeys.
No, just like a soundboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely... Oh, here we go. I'm going to save it.
Yo, we got there! We
got
did
there.
it! 24 pages!
Yep, 24 pages. All right, I'm going to use my lawyer skimming skills. Hopefully not miss anything.
Okay. Let's skim it right there with you. I'm watching the stream.
Once you've had a chance to try them, make sure to give your feedback on their websites. They both have it looks like a multiple choice and an open response. And then, of course, do the forums. So Jason Bullman, Logan Bonner, James Case, and Michael Sayer. Okay. Those are the people. There's the playtest artwork, a letter from Yoon. Hello. Okay. The power of the elements flows from within you. Roaring fire, pure water, fleeting air, steadfast earth. An inner gate inextricably tied to your body channels power directly from the elemental planes, causing elements to leap to your hand, whirl around your body, and blast foes at your whim. As your connection to the planes grows, you attain true mastery over your chosen elements. Okay, for chat first, I'm going to have to leave in an hour and a half. Also, I'm going to put timestamps as soon as I can today for people to jump around later. Yes, Constitution is the key ability. That's confirmed. Hit points 8. Perception is trained. Saves are the same as in 1E.
Saves
At
are
least
the
at
same
level
as a
1.
Marshall in 2E, so that's promising.
And trained in nature. Average number of skills. Trained in light armor. That's my prediction. Trained in simple weapons. Also my prediction. Okay, key terms. We'll look at those when they come up. Impulse, kinetic, aura, overflow. Oh, overflow. I see the word overflow. Okay. Inner gate and channeled elements. As a kineticist, you've awakened or opened a supernatural conduit within your own body that can channel elemental forces straight from the elemental planes. Choose whether this inner gate is a dedicated gate connecting to a single plane, a dual gate connecting to two, or a universal gate connecting to all, kind of like how wizards specialize, or not, I suppose. This determines how many different elements you can channel and how many bonus impulse feats, a special kind of kineticist feat that allows you to shape and wield an element you select at first level. So you actually gain them. You don't just unlock them. You can gain more at level 1. When selecting an element for your inner gate, you can pick from 4 elements: air, earth, fire, and water, which are described in full starting on page 13. From the pre-publicity, I thought there were 2 more planes. We'll see where wood and earth come. Impulse term. The primary magical actions kineticists use are called impulses. So, okay, there's a gather element kineticist action, which you do is the typical way you can trigger an impulse action. When you gather a specific element, it looks like, which unlocks impulse abilities with that element. It has concentrate and manipulate traits, so don't stand on the front lines. Okay.
All right.
Dedicated gates. This is one of your level 1 options. Your inner gate is a dedicated channel to a single elemental plane, limiting you to a single element, but giving you great skill with it. You select an element, you can channel it, and gain 3 first-level impulse feats that match its trait. We're going to see a huge list of feats, probably.
I saw that mentioned brutal, which is normally only on creature stat blocks at this point. Players normally can't get that keyword.
Yes. A ranged attack with this trait uses strength.
Yep.
On the attack roll.
That's normally the only thing you see on creature stat blocks.
So they're trying to make it so you can specialize in strength or dexterity. Interesting.
Yeah.
Possibly. You can also choose dual gate. 2 elements and 2 first level impulse feats. Universal gate. You can channel all 4 elements and you have 1 first level impulse feat. Oh. And you get to change it every morning. Okay. While meeting its prerequisites. Gather element is an action. I'll do some skimming and read out the key parts, I think.
Right.
Okay, it has the manipulate trait. You need a free hand. You draw forth elemental matter through your inner gate from one of the 6 planes. It mentions 6 here. Maybe the other planes are higher level. A mass of that element appears in your open hand. And you cannot use it for anything other than elemental impulse abilities to shape and direct the gathered element. Okay. Overflow, which we'll learn more about later, causes the element to dissipate. Only 1 element gathered at a time. Okay, flavor text. You can gather fire while underwater. It doesn't care about the environment. Okay.
Cool.
Elemental impulses. An impulse is a special type of magical action available. You can... To wield an element using an impulse, you must have gathered that element. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so it's like charging Spell Strike and then using Spell Strike, but each one is 1 action, which is cool.
I like the idea of spending time to gather an element and then unleash.
Yeah, and I also
feel.
think that's a cool thing because it's like an activity that you can split up across turns.
Yeah. Because we have 3 actions, we can play with these kinds of...
Yeah.
We can represent that through time, through actions. Okay, Elemental Blast. This is the basic thing. 1 action. With the wave of your hand, you swing or hurl elemental matter at a foe. So you actually had to have gathered the element first. So that's 2 actions, it sounds like. Make a melee or ranged strike using your gathered element. The damage die, damage type, and the traits for both the melee and ranged version are listed on page 6. If you make a melee strike, you add your strength to the damage as normal. as the element is more intense when physically closer to your inner gate. Though it's not actually an unarmed attack, an elemental blast uses your proficiency with unarmed attacks, gets any bonuses and penalties that apply to unarmed attacks, and uses weapon damage dice and weapon traits in the same way an unarmed attack does. The blast can benefit from runes granted by hand wraps of mighty blows. If you have weapon specialization, the blast gains extra damage as if it were an unarmed attack. Elemental blasts have unique critical specializations listed under the elements on page 7. So it's like a quasi weapon. It progresses in accuracy, and you can also apparently add property runes to it as well, if I'm reading that right.
Me when I add fire runes to my water spells, my water punches. Yeah, it says it benefits from runes. It doesn't say only the potency runes or whatever.
Impulses are magical, but they'll have to operate as unarmed attacks, so whatever limits that imposes. Impulses are magical, but they are not spells. However, abilities that restrict you from casting spells, such as being polymorphed into a battle form, or protect against spells, such as Globe of Invulnerability, or a bonus to save against spells, also apply to impulses. Any impulse you use is your level, even if the feat or impulse's level is lower than yours. For instance, if you were 5th level, your elemental blast would be 5th level, and its counteract level would be 3rd level, even though you gained the action at 1st level. Similarly to spells, many impulses get more powerful as you go up in level. Okay. In these cases, the impulse ends with a level entry, showing how it strengthens at higher levels. So these are the elemental blasts. Earth and water are they were the physical ones in 1E. They do more damage, but they also are not agile. And they have these beneficial traits that do more damage.
And they're also not finesse.
Yes. And they're not finesse. And Earth also has propulsive, so it does more damage at range, but a shorter range increment. Okay, this is cool. Air does little damage, but has a long range, has a lot of range. So, when you're making your choice on whether to focus in one element or more at 1st level, this is a key thing to look at.
And I also appreciate having an air ability that's actually slashing with the wind, because I noticed that was missing before.
Cool. Okay. Adapt element. You also have...
Oh, and air is reach. Like, even for the melee part, it's reach.
Ah, interesting. Reach. Okay. Are you able to look at chat too, or also absorbed as I am?
I'm taking looks at chat. It's just a bunch of people are talking about what it is, so I'm just thinking that I'm not going to derail you and just let you talk about what it is.
Okay. And some people are listening to me too, so I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Adapt element takes 2 actions. You need a hand free. This is another level 1 activity you get. What does this do? Okay, it's like a utility spell, a utility ability. You choose a non-magical portion of an element that you can channel that's within 10 feet. It must be held by a willing creature or be unattended, of negligible bulk, and no larger than what can fit in a human hand. It must be loose. It can be an element you have gathered in your hand too, apparently. And then you can do all of these things. Gather. You can use it to gather the element. Instead of from your inner gate, you can gather it from the environment. So if you are focused only in fire, you can actually gather a loose piece of rock, apparently, and spend 2 actions to gather a rock from the environment, and then use Elemental Blast, which only requires that you hurl elemental matter at a foe. I think I got that right.
That sounds right to me, yeah.
You can move the portion. You can change its temperature, such as snuffing out a flame. Oh. But you need to have... These all have traits, though. You might have to have that trait from the earlier class feature to do these things.
I
Okay.
think that just says you... Wait. Yeah, I don't think it does. Because it would say
Yeah.
that it needs to be part of your inner gate if it meant that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think regulate is saying what element it can affect, because you can't change the temperature of earth. You have to change the temperature of air, fire, or water.
It could just be traits slapped onto something you can do, too. That's what traits usually function as.
Yeah.
You can help someone breathe underwater as well. Okay. Or breathe water outside of water. I mean, something that is only underwater, breathe it outside of water. Okay, you get a Kineticist Feat at first level. Okay. I often like jumping ahead from the class progression, but let's kind of skim this. You get Elemental Resistance. When you have an element gathered, you gain resistance to damage from a source that has that trait.
Fair enough.
So if you have water gathered, you would gain resistance to a strike from a water elemental or damage from a hydraulic push spell. We love keywords, don't we?
And people are saying, why would you choose to gather with two instead of one? And that's because it doesn't matter what gate you have or what subclass you are, you can still gather the elements that you shouldn't have access to for
Yeah.
the extra action.
Extract element. It's an action you gain at 3rd level. You tug directly on the element nature of a creature to weaken it and take its power for your own. Choose an element that you can channel, so it's limited to what you can channel. They have to be within 30 feet. And they must have the trait of that element or otherwise has that
Yeah.
elemental nature, whatever that means. Fortitude
That
save.
means GM can feel more stuff is affected or not.
Well, page 8, I don't know what that's... It says on page 8. 2d4 damage. When they take damage, you gather the element that you chose. So, that's cool. So, let's say you're a fire channeler and you encounter...
Let's say a dragon, because they have the fire trait.
Yeah.
Or a red dragon.
Oh, it actually doesn't help give you more flexibility because you're drawing the channel that you already... You're drawing the element that you can already channel.
Yep. And you're also
But you're at
then
least
drawing
weakening the
fire
creature. It's like
thing
action economy.
against a fire dragon. And then what are you doing with the fire? Unless there's
You're
ways for you to use that defensively, then
you're damaging it at the same time though.
yeah. I
So
mean,
you get to
fair. It is
gather...
one damage saving throw rather than but it's just 2d4, which
But you know,
oh it
it's not an
scales. It
attack.
scales level +3.
It's not an attack. You can do it multiple times apparently.
Oh wait, it
And
scales with level +3, which means that isn't scaling with a spell, because it's scaling with your character level. This is weird. Yeah, well, it is only one action. It's a saving throw to do damage. And it also gives you the element. It's probably better than I'm giving it credit for. Probably.
Oh, maybe you read this already, but yeah, you can use the fire against the fire elemental.
Huh. Okay, then it's more interesting.
You can affect the target
I'm down.
even if it would normally be immune. And the target also gets a -1 to its defenses against it. If it normally has resistance, you ignore it.
Okay, giving it -1 to all of its defenses is really, really big. Okay, I changed my mind.
Oh wait, if it would normally be immune, it instead has resistance equal to its level. But still, You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're not shut down if you're a fire kineticist against a fire creature. Okay, so my initial take was wrong after reading further. Okay, the usual advancement stuff. Uh, yep. Critical element. A critical hit with your element has a critical specialization effect. Air pushes moves at 5 feet in a direction of your choice, not simply away from you. So off a
So
cliff, maybe.
like the polearm one.
Mm-hmm. Earth can call your target to the earth by knocking
Okay,
them
so
prone.
air is worse polearm, earth is worse flail.
Well, hopefully it's worse flail versus.
Fire just is the knife one, except it's fire instead of bleed.
Okay. So, these just give more flavor to each choice. Fire is like if you like to damage people, as usual. Um,
Isn't water just worse pick?
these all sound like good house rules for kinetic. What is it called? Kinetic Blast in Warlock 5e. Water sprays violently, dealing splash damage. Okay. Adapt Terrain, 7th
It is
level.
worse pick. Cool.
You can use Adapt Element. Is that what that utility ability was earlier? Yes. You can use Adapt Element to within 30 feet of you instead of 10 feet, and it could be light bulk instead of negligible bulk. You also can proliferate. You can cause the element to spread. It fills that square. You and the GM determine what it does. It could be hazardous even. You can spread elements in one square into another square. So yeah, you can burn a house down with your mind.
But
This is the fire starter class, not the psychic.
yeah. I just think it's interesting that they don't get expert in their weapons until 7th.
Ah.
Huh. I wonder what that's signaling. Will it be
Well,
like alchemist proficiency?
well, I mean, we saw earlier that it's kind of like a hybrid of being treated as a weapon and as a spell.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of
because
like alchemical bombs.
yeah, like maybe the versatility is they the greater versatility compared to Marshall's weapon strikes means they are
And
pushing the proficiency advancement back a
yeah.
little.
And I
Because this
can
is the
confirm
spellcaster
that is the
proficiencies.
normal time. That is the normal time that alchemist would get expert. I just double checked.
Ah, and when spellcasters get expert too.
Yeah. So let's
Okay.
see if they get master.
Yep, they become super good at fortitude saves. They get to turn successes into critical successes at 7th level.
Yep. That's same point as barbarian.
Okay, everything else is pretty standard. Expert DC, expert class DC at 9th.
Yep.
Elemental flexibility at 9th. When you make your daily... Oh, this is like at the fighter. When you make your daily preparations, you get 1 elemental impulse feat of 8th level or lower that you don't already have. Impulse feats must be like infusions. I'm imagining. We'll see. You get evasion at 11th level. Pure
Well, the impulse feats
adaptation.
be like the meta magic things that I was mentioning.
Your inner gate can now filter elements around you, bringing them closer to their true form. You can use adapt element at 60 feet, and it could be 1 bulk now. And you get to add purify. So it's kind of like all of the utility stuff that we saw from 1E's now, in this, or some of it is in this progression. Purify, you can turn it into the purest form of itself. You remove pollutants. It can remove a poison or a curse even. Counteract check to do so. Okay. You cannot change the grade of a material. Okay. Utility. 13th level, your blasts become master, which is like a martial. Interesting.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like it's a little schizo. Light
And
armor
then
expertise 13th, greater juggernaut 15th.
that's also standard for marshals. Greater Juggernaut, I think that's when Barbarian gets it. So that checks.
Wow, this is a class we cannot classify as martial or caster, I think.
It seems more martial than caster to me. Like from proficiencies alone, because it does get master weaponry.
Yeah, we'll see. Improved elemental flexibility. This is like the fighter, change your feats in the morning
Yeah.
feats. 17th level, you become immune to. Your elemental resistance becomes full immunity while you have that element gathered. Elemental mastery. Your class DC goes to master.
Yeah.
Light armor mastery. Final gate. Your inner gate reaches a perfect form. Its power constantly fighting to be released. You're permanently quickened, but that extra action is only for gathering an element.
Huh.
Okay.
So it gets it what most classes would spend their level 20 feet on as a feature at 19. That's I am scared of what their level 20 feats are.
At every level that you gain a Kineticist feat, you can select one of these. Elemental impulses. When you gain Kineticist feats, you can also select impulse feats for any element you can channel. Why are they called out? Oh, there's more feats later after the other feats. So these are the 1 through 20 feats, but then there's more feats beyond here. Okay. So how does this work? So at level 1, that class feature gave you up to 3 impulse feats for free. And
Yeah.
impulse feats are not class feats.
They're a completely separate group of feats, which is
Okay, I'm a little unclear here. Does this mean when you gain any Kineticist feat, you get an impulse feat? I don't know if chat has a thought on that. It's like a free, 2-for-1 deal?
I mean, that's what it seems like.
Okay, let me see what the impulse trait is. The primary magical actions kineticists use are called impulses. So, Elemental Blast was an impulse action. So, these are kind of like your actions or spells, if you want to think of it that
Yeah.
way. So, it's the bread and butter for your class of what you can actually do, of things you can do.
And saying whenever you take a Kineticist feat, you get one means that if you're archetyping out, you don't get as many impulses.
I think it would have said that explicitly, though. Let's read it.
Okay.
Elemental Familiar. This gives you a familiar. I'm skimming it.
I mean, if it didn't mean
Elemental
that, wouldn't have
Weapon.
been in like the chart at the front of the class that says what you gain each level. Oh, it says you can select impulse feats when you would. Okay. Chat is correcting me. Thank you, chat.
Oh, so it's like you can, in lieu of a class feat, gain an impulse feat. That would make sense.
Yeah.
That sounds less overpowered. Okay.
Yeah.
So Elemental Weapon, the familiar, it looks the same except it has immunity to various effects. I've not seen Burn, by the way. That's a notable thing that we have not seen yet. Or how focus points are spent, or even if they are a thing.
Yeah.
Elemental Weapon. This had a 1E version. When you select this feat, you choose an element you can channel, and it emulates a one-handed simple R martial weapon, so you can be a martial kineticist, effectively. A common weapon, or one you have access to. The damage type changes to that element's elemental blast's damage type. It has some restrictions. Your proficiency with it matches that of your elemental blasts.
Also, the stream is turbo lagging for chat right now.
Oh,
and me. So,
turbo lagging. Let me see my settings, see if I can get the latency. Oh, it's at low
yeah.
latency right now. I can't change it, the latency right now, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, our viewers are going down.
Yep.
Latency. Okay, sorry. This compares to the melee elemental blast from earlier, because before you could use your whole strength bonus, so why would you do this?
Well, because you don't need to gather an element before doing that every time, right?
Yes, yeah, the weapon is still the gathered element. You can choose a ranged weapon that uses ammunition even. Okay, so it emulates the base weapon in a number of ways. You can choose it more than once to get more than one type. Flexible blasts. You can make any melee elemental blast you have the finesse trait.
Nice. That was something I thought was notable about it, but now,
Or
Dex.
give any ranged blast the brutal trait. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.